academic, but I'll try to bring us along as we go. My thinking is that we as minority, as we tend to say, or Black Africans, over the years, many, many years before there's been various things around our way of life that has cast us in different ways, you know. Is it for us to my primary question is, are we going to continue to live within that caste, or should we start moving away from it? That's what has driven this title, breaking away from the mold. So to start, I wanted to say that I work for a company called Gojo Industries. It's an American company, but I'm not speaking here today in my official capacity. My work is across Europe. I work with various governments, but anything I say today has nothing to do with that work. So that's like a disclosure or a disclaimer, if you like. Thank you. So the point I thought we could look at today, what are those internal things or external challenges we have that is either keeping us to do things the way we have known to do it, even though the world has been moving on. And now what other areas to explore a little bit with you, those areas that are being influenced, that a lot of opportunities out there, but are we actually exploiting it? You know, to begin to ask those questions. And I wanted us to look at, you know, to see the world, the opportunity, the frame, to share my own experience with you regarding the views, the contacts I've had, and the benefits that has brought to me as a person. Then we look at, ask questions as to, can we continue to act individually or collectively? It was mentioned before, and I believe that we are here today because we all want to act, you know, begin to think in a different way, to challenge our present situation, to act more collectively. And I don't have many slides, I have just a few slides, and so we should be very quick and probably gain more time from the first one. So to start with, is the concepts, a little bit more, you know, the concept we have grown up with, you know, well, should we continue to walk around those old concepts, whatever they are? They may be individual concepts, they may be the collective concepts around our community, and those concepts will vary from person to person. You know, so I personally believe it's time for us to begin to challenge those things that are affecting us from progressing within this community. Then inhibitions, our personal inhibitions, the inhibitions that have been created around us, maybe in our workplaces, maybe family-wise, maybe financial and so on. I wanted us to start to ask questions, to begin to challenge those things and move out. And there are also paradigms, you know, those ways of doing things that sets physical or non-physical attitudes on even whether social or non-social environment where we find ourselves. How has it cast us? I feel we are at the stage where we can begin to look at what we do in a different way in order to do things differently. Then perceptions, probably this is the most difficult one for minorities here. We have, I said earlier, I mentioned before that sometimes there are certain perceptions that we have grown into Shall we begin to question these perceptions or accept them? Are there ways we can challenge them positively in order to begin to cancel out those perceptions that we have? Those are the kind of questions I want us to begin to ask ourselves. From my own experience, earlier on it was said that from a business perspective, when you go to big corporations where I have worked, it is true that most of the time, if you look at corporate strategies, Africa is not on the agenda. But a lot of the time, it's not because they do not want to work in Africa. It's all about those earlier things that I mentioned, the perception, the paradigms, the inhibitions that have been created by various activities in the past. But corporations are really happy to work in Africa if, from my own experience, if we can provide evidence that things can change. And that is down to us to begin to create that environment that will enable corporations, whether small or big, to work in Africa. And those areas in industry, there's a big vacuum at the moment. It's very difficult to begin to find new areas. We've seen all the examples that have been shown us, but with big corporations, developing new ideas is very, very challenging at the moment. So it's an area where I believe minorities can really prosper because ideas have no boundary. When we have a good idea, whether it's scientific, technological, or socio-economic, there is no boundary. It doesn't have any color. Ideas have no color. Science have no color. And many of us in the UK are very, very qualified people, whether it's in science, technology, but it's how we want to, are we selling it appropriately? Are we asking the right questions to sell those ideas at the right quarters? Talking to people like Brendan, to work with them, to develop some community-based activities, not to work in our own silos, So that's very, very important to begin to ask those questions. So on collective activities, one big area that has, based also from my own experience, trying to help people to establish in Nigeria within what I do. One thing that is very well respected to break those paradigms, to break inhibitions, is that you have to have the right knowledge, and most of us do. But maybe we don't know how to position it, we don't know how to sell it. Most Black Africans here are, like I said before, are very, very qualified people. It's either we have a lot of expertise in various, if you measure it by degrees, some of us have probably 5, 6, 7 degrees in different areas, but it's not enough to put it on paper. It's for us to be able to monitorize it, to commercialize it, those things that we have, And can we do it alone? Probably not. It's by working together. Trust. Trust is very important. We need to start to build that trust around us, which will be the basis for collective activity. Whether we are acting with our brothers in Africa or here, trust is very, very important. And for you to convince somebody here to put money into Africa, the primary thing is actually trust, not how much you have. How much you have, we will have. But if we don't have that trust, the reliability, the fact that when we work in association, you will deliver. You know, we talked about commitment before. When you commit, you know, you will see it through. Without criticizing ourselves, but sometimes self-criticism helps. If we say we meet at 2, 2:05 is tolerable. 4 o'clock is a different thing. So these are things that matter. And autocriticism is very important. You know, we don't get annoyed by it, otherwise we don't progress. It's all part of the challenges we have to face. And the work itself, we are very hardworking, but it's not always about hard work. Some people say it's about working smartly. You know, are we working in the right way? Are we being productive? Can it be measured? Can we deliver? You know, those questions are questions we need to ask in order to produce here and also invest in Africa. You know. Then what are these opportunities? You know, we live in the UK. It is true that the UK is a developed country, probably the third, the fourth in the world. But there is that first tendency to have that focus about where you are, which is good, you know. But there have been a lot of changes going on. Personally, I work with companies, multinationals that are in different countries. I travel a lot. I meet many, many people. And in discussion, there's a lot of acceptance out there, you know. So when we work collectively, we have bigger opportunity, you know, and the bigger opportunity in all aspects, you know, of whatever we do, whether we are scientists, whether we are lawyers, whether we are business people, you know, there's that broad scope. We need to have, the UK is our base, which is also in alignment with what we have been told before. The UK is our base. Our job here is to create that partnership, you know, which you can create through trust, through capital investment, through efficiency, through delivery, through commitment, you know. But there is a wider world there. And that wider world is for us to exploit. It's not just the UK. Within Europe, there's, never mind whatever discussion is going on, some of us know differently. There are opportunities out there. Global, there are opportunities out there. And if we open up, for those of us who are very technologically oriented, we are looking for innovations. And innovation has no boundary. It has no color, you know. So a lot of us here have good ideas. It's how to sell it. Let's talk to ourselves and begin to sell our ideas, whatever it is. Next slide. Well, as I said, I didn't prepare many slides, but I wanted to prepare something that can generate, if you like, uncomfortable questions that will challenge us, you know, and it shouldn't be, it will challenge us in the sense that we are capable to meet those challenges. It will push us to the next level, and I think we are at that stage of going to the next level. The world is moving so quickly, and we need to move with it, you know, whatever previous paradigms are, whatever previous perceptions are, those things shouldn't stop us. There are things people say, you look at it, you ignore it, you move on because you want to achieve bigger things. And it works, whether it's in business, whether it's in academics, you know, people look at you from where you place yourself. Not really, well, in French, says, if you don't say I am, nobody will say you are. So what I'm saying is that we should begin to say I am so that people can recognize us too. You know, when I've had the opportunity, and I thank God for that, where you go to an unknown country for the first time, and you are able to tell them clearly, you are not mixing words. This is wrong, this is not right, why are you doing this? Why? They are listening to you because they think you are bringing something new to them. And that is the way it works. It has no color when you have the right product. You know, we've been shown water machine. That's very impressive. You know, that water machine has no color. It will work in any country. You know, same thing with knowledge. And most of us, yeah, all of us have got something in us. Let us sell it. Let's work collectively. You know, let's stop working in silos. Let's build trust. You know, trust is bigger than wealth because trust generates wealth. And with that, I will leave.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bonnie Okeke. We've continued to receive some wealth of information here this afternoon. What I gathered from what Mr. Okeke was saying there, I did actually jot that down, was trust is actually needed in order for us to, or any business to prosper. And also working together, you know, togetherness, because, you know, we can't work alone. We need a collective body to work together. So, and also timekeeping. We're trying, we're getting there. But I'm afraid to say that that time over there is not working, so we're right on point. So indeed, yes, it's a very important. Timekeeping in business is very important. And also, work ethics. It's very, very important. So these are notes that I'm taking down for myself. And just after the break, we got Mr. Collins here, who's our next speaker. And we're going to take a break, so to have water and also interact, mingle, get to know each other is very important as well. And then we'll come back, we've got some more guest speakers for you. And I'm sure today we will all go out here with something very, very worthwhile in our lives, which will actually change our lives for the better. So please, let's welcome Mr. Colin Bloom. He's going to actually talk about, well, he's a very significant international, he's got experience. I've been working across Europe, the Middle East, North Africa, and Africa. Mr. Collins is a very inspirational leader, public speaker, an excellent communicator, and a motivator and a strategist. Also, is a thoughtful and proactive senior executive. Please, let's welcome on stage Mr. Collins Bloom.
Thank you very much. I don't know where you got that from. If it was from my PA, she's going to get